welcome. My name is Marinsa, and I'm here today to talk to you about the current performance we have in our marketing plan for Happy Retirements. My aim for us today is to go through the past year's performances and have a look at the results, and then evaluate these and obviously determine where improvement can be made in relation to the marketing plan, obviously for next year. So out of that, my brief or my focus for you today will be, we will look at the financial results and performances. We will look at the residents survey that was conducted throughout the year, Happy Retirements and its ratings, where it's placed in relation to how people perceive it, our website performance, and then also advertising to see whether our promotional activities are effective or not. When we start off with our financial results and performances, we can see from our performances that we've had a great feedback or great performance in relation to the 3-bedroom apartments. Unfortunately, we've had a slow start to two-bedroom villas. What we've also noticed is in relation to our operating expenses as well as our current expenses, that our expenses are overperforming and our returns are not actually bringing in anything in relation to being profitable for the company. The other problem that we've also experienced is that I see that our marketing expenses, we are not completely effectively implementing marketing strategies that really sort of like focuses on this. So if I have to make a comparison within our financial performances and the results that it's currently showing for us, it indicates that what we put out in relation to operations and revenue is not being effectively put back into the company because of our high expenses. So our returns, unfortunately, are not profitable to the company itself. Just a little graph to have a bit of a correlation to give you an idea as to where we are in relation to our 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, and then the profit margins in relation to that. So as you can see, projected on some areas we are well above our projection, which is great and gives us great profit margins and great performances, but on other levels obviously our actuals are actually much higher or much lower than our projected, which then obviously gives us an underperformance as such. I guess the next thing that we were looking at was our resident survey. What we did in our surveys is we had face-to-face surveys conducted. We had a fantastic achievement. 80% of our residents obviously participated in this. I guess what made it really effective for us in this regard was that we were able to incorporate or encourage all residents to participate, and that included people that, for instance, were couples as well. We also made sure that our survey had asked specific questions. These questions obviously really sort of like gave a good overview of where our residents are seeing us in relation to how did they come about knowing Happy Retirements, and also how they rate us in performance, whether it is in our services that we provided, the facilities and other related staff and all of those elements. When we look at the first one, which is how did you find out about our village, you'll see that from the margins or the comparisons that old-fashioned advertising promotions are still quite effective with our retirees or our senior residents. So, you know, the radio, the newspaper, the letter drop boxes, it seems to be quite effective. What is really interesting is that we've had a good performance on website, but it's more popular with our male residents. I get the idea that we've got a bit of a tech savviness going on in that regard. Word of mouth, people talking, seems to be more left towards our female residents. As you can see, there's a good sort of like participation percentage-wise in our females. But then on the other hand, I think the one thing that we are seem to be lacking in, and it seems to be across the board in various of our advertising promotions, is unfortunately other elements such as Facebook or our social media as such. It seems to be a bit underperforming. Overall, higher awareness, if we look at these results, higher awareness is definitely more on the female resident side compared to our male resident side, which is quite interesting in that regard. Ratings. This one was a bit of a tricky one. We've had some negatives and we had some positives in that regard. Some of our negatives is, as you can see, we have a middle grounds where people are either not agreeing or disagreeing. To me, this sort of like is a very, it's indecisive decision making, and we need to sort of like focus on those elements to get those indecisive decisions obviously converted into a decision making, whether it's a positive or a negative, but we need to sort of like reduce those figures. Another negative element, unfortunately, is where our residents have strongly agreed on our brand, for instance. We've had staff, we've also had word of mouth, and we've had overall operations. Now, that is quite a high percentage in disagreements, and we need to look at those, and those need some serious attention for moving forward with the next year's marketing plan as such. On the positive side, we've had a great response and return on people really talking about the facilities, which are excellent, which has given us a 75% overall performance rate, which is excellent. And another positive in that regard is indicated that our contract is easy to understand and interpret, which is a great benefit. So people are easy to sort of like communicate and understand what we are all about, which is a great initiative. Website performance. As you can see from this, we've had a really great performance in relation to our website. I think it's one of the strongest sort of like representations to date. Traffic sourcing, we can see we have search engines and referrals that have been really good. But on the other side, negative-wise, we've had our social media, which seems to be lagging. So it seems to be on the advertising side of it, and it seems to be in our search engines, opportunities and all that. People are either not too familiar with it or uncomfortable not maybe using it, but it's an area for improvement itself. What I can recommend with our traffic source is that we increase and maintain visibility in that regard. Keep our ad extensions maybe running for a bit longer than anticipated. Average interaction per site. We've had some it's great, and it appears to be quite effective, and it's working successfully with obviously the current metrics that's been engaged and been implemented into the marketing plan. Our average time has been successful, but there are some things that I can recommend. For instance, is that we can maybe improve on the readability of it, maybe do more by optimizing our images, maybe add a couple of success stories, to sort of like bring that connectivity from what people have experienced and all of that. People always like to hear a bit of a story in that regard. I'm not sure if you think it might be something to look into. Another thing that has given us a great performance is our bounce rate, 30%, which is excellent. And the click-through rate, which is the last of it, which is a 60% achievement or performance-wise, gives us good indication that users find our ads obviously informative, helpful, and definitely relevant as such. As an overall, I think the web and what we've done in the past year has been really great. So congratulations on those implementations as such. It's been good in performance-wise. When we're looking at advertising, before I go on, is there any questions at the moment? Feel free to stop me if something's not clear or you need to ask a question. Okay. Right, so when you look at our advertising, we sort of like focused on a few key elements. We looked at advertising based on the current market plan and the target audience that we were looking to target. The advertising for the village was done on the radio and the local newspaper, which has been quite effective in some ways, maybe not in others. And we've made sure that to create that activity-wise, that we may put some contact details in so that if people obviously wanted some more interest or more information, that at least there were some contact details that people could do and get in contact with. So advertising for our villages indicated that our radio and our newspapers, we've had a 15% recall on ads, which is slightly below the average of 17.2%. But for a first year performance, I think it's an excellent result, taking into consideration it's only been a year in operation. What I can maybe suggest, and to measure the effectiveness in that sort of like area, is to increase the frequency of our radio ads. And maybe to build that a bit of awareness is maybe, do our residents or people that are interested in maybe investing in happy retirements, do they actually have, or can they remember the ads? You know, and does that stimulate that process of decision making, you know, for them to really want to be part of the happy retirement village life? Local newspapers, you know, it's got good and bad. It's very low at the moment, but it's been effective. There's a 2% recall on that. And recommendation wise, my suggestions would be for the marketing plan, the current market, or the next marketing plan to come into effect is maybe to run with 2 ads as maximum, and to check the effectiveness of those and see if there's really sort of like a good response and awareness on those ads as such. And then Salesforce, get the Salesforce behind these ads to make sure that if there are any follow-ups, that they strongly sort of like implement those follow-ups and follow through with those areas as such. I guess in conclusion, our financial results and the performances, you know, they maintained. There were some good elements in it where we've achieved above our targets, and then there were some elements where we're underperforming. I can say once again that our operational and our day-to-day expenses seems to outnumber, so we are not totally effectively using our marketing budget to really build up on that awareness as such. So those are areas that you and the marketing team can sit down and have a look at and see where there's some areas for improvement. Survey response rate, I think, has been great, and that has definitely indicated with an 80% response rate achieved. I think that is a great performance itself. Website performance is great, and we've seen that there is definitely movement in that, and that it covers all interest areas, whether it is sort of like the old-fashioned promotions, whether it is more on the website. There seems to be an interest on both sides, you know, not only just for the male, but also for females on that side. So there's a good balance in that. I guess lastly, our advertising promotions, they're slightly below average, but I think they are still effective. The few recommendations that I might have suggested, whatever, could be for improvement, but there is well performance as such.
Well, that's great.
I guess lastly, I did make a bit of time if there was any questions that you were looking to ask or that you felt you needed to. If you don't have anything, I am here after our briefing session, so if you do feel like you need to come and talk to me, by all means, I'll be here for for another hour or so after
Okay.
today. If not, Cara, thank you very much for your time.
It's been lovely to have you here.
Thank you very much, and all the success with next year's marketing plan. So, and on that, I'll say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye then.
Thank you.